Good morning. Good morning. Oh, we are live. Oh my gosh. So happy everybody's doing well. It has been a while, so I thought I'd do a live video once in a while. It is a beautiful day in Oregon. You can see all that amazing snow. It's been snowing all night. But yeah, today I had a meeting get canceled, so I thought I would do a little video on a subject that I'm pretty passionate about, which is like law of attraction and manifesting and things like that. So I thought I would do a little bit of a talk, and I'm gonna sit down for today's thing. And you can see my, sorry, do you wanna say hi? Huh? All right. So today it's, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about law of attraction and manifesting and kind of talking. I'm a pretty big believer. I've been studying this stuff for about 10 years now. And I've had a lot of fun things happen because of it. And if you guys know a little bit about my story, I was a whitewater rafting guide in Japan. I've traveled a lot, a lot all over the world. And now I do, obviously, career consulting. I work with a few different businesses consulting their hiring processes as well as students as well. You can check out Resume to Offer, where you can book a session. I also help with certain boot camps as well. And then I also do hiring for a bunch of tech companies. And I do sales in tech as well. So it's been a fascinating adventure, but wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this area because yeah, it's going to be a little more esoteric than I usually do, but it's something that's very, I think, interesting and a little bit of a secret sauce when it comes to just success in a lot of different areas. And so wanted to kind of give you guys some of my thoughts on this, some of my thought process that this is all tools just to help you, okay? It's like if you use it, I think you guys can get even more success in different areas of your life. If you don't use it, hey, no worries. You got nothing to lose. So, and I also just saw this story this morning that was pretty crazy. There was a story about Sora, it's a new AI company that you can text kind of like ChatGPT, and then it forms videos. This is a news story that just came out a few hours ago, and I was watching it. It was like, and then right away they said, what about the job market? Oh my gosh, the job market. So this is gonna actually replace like videographers and animators in Hollywood in the next like 2 years by like, I think it was like 25%. Huge. But it's something to be aware of in kind of career paths. You want to make sure you're aware of the market, where things are going, what the impact of technology are going to be doing. So I want to tell you a few different things. So if you don't know what law of attraction is, strongly recommend reading the book The Secret, or watching, it's on Amazon Prime for free, The Secret, or you can look at some older books like Think and Grow Rich. This was at the turn of the century. Napoleon Hill talked a lot about that. Like think, not work hard, think and grow rich. So here's a few things that I think have worked for me, and there's a balance between these two. One is you're working, you gotta have hard work ethic, you gotta work your ass off, you gotta be doing all this stuff. And the other one, like in like law of attraction world, a lot of people are like, I'm just gonna meditate and let it come to me, let it come to me. And I think there's a little bit of a middle ground that people should be aware of. It's like, yes, you wanna visualize. If you guys have listened to different stories, Jim Carrey, before he became, a success, he would visualize his success beforehand, and then he got the Ace Ventura, movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you watch the Netflix documentary, it's a great documentary. I highly recommend it. He also, as my wife texts me, sorry, he also visualized his success. He got inspired. He visualized being Mr. Universe. He visualized his real estate business. He visualized being an actor, but he still worked hard to get there. So we're going to talk about a few things that I think can help raise your vibration, but also how to develop a career, a job, project to help you make more money. Hey, Scott, good to see you, man. So yes, I got a haircut and I just got back from Hawaii. Very good point. So 10 steps to manifesting, as well as like maybe a few things that can help you. And some ways that you can think about it is you got to make sure you're doing the right role, the right job, the right career for you. This is especially in sales. I meet a lot of people who want to get into tech sales, but they're not wired for it. They don't have the strength for it, or maybe there's one person who hated talking to people. They hated talking to people. I don't know if sales is the right career path for you if you hate people. Usually you have to kind of like enjoy people, enjoy, you talkative personality. It's not a must. It's just going to help you. So some things to consider. Number one, you have to do something that you love, okay? Or at least have a liking toward. You have to also do something that you're wired for. There's a balance there. Do what you're wired for. But also, you have to do what's in demand for the market. There's a great joke I liked from Chris Rock, where he talked about, like, he jokes about people, the principal was telling the students, you could be anything you want. You could be anything you want. And he was like, that's total bull. That's a lie. It's like, yeah, you could do anything you want if you're good at it, and they're hiring, which I thought was like, that's very, very true. It has to be in demand for the market. So if you're going to identify potential jobs and career paths you want to go down to, I would recommend kind of a few different things. The mixture would be something that you actually have an interest in, right? You love to learn about that subject, okay? It is gonna also teach you skills down the road that you can leverage and be an asset in the future. It's high income skill sets. The second thing is something that maybe it's just you love to do. Maybe you love the activity. The next thing is are you wired for it? Do you have wired means, do you have like a natural talent there? Okay? Do you have some kind of natural talent that can kind of be synergistic with it? The third thing is also the market. Is this role or career going to be in demand 2 to 5 years down the road? With technology nowadays, it's really hard to kind of like think about like, 10, 20 years. So what's your dream 10 or 20 years? Well, who knows? Technology keeps doubling in capacity or speed every 2 years. That's Moore's law. So you have to be aware of this. If you look at what AI and just ChatGPT and all these other tech companies, what they're doing, imagine what it's going to be. It's going to be double the speed in 2 years. So you have to think about that. Like, is this job and role and career going to be in demand 2 to 5 years down the road? So you can position yourself now. And yeah, it's a bet, but what's the likeliest probability of success for you? So you want to like kind of line these things up, and that's kind of how you get in the sweet spot. So very, very important. I would start, and then the other secret sauce that we talk about when it comes to just like law of attraction stuff is your resonance. Resonance is your base vibration. Okay, so I might be throwing out a few words that might go over people's heads and be like, well, this sounds very esoteric and spiritual. Yeah, in a big way, but if you read a lot of books on success, especially older books, they all talk about this. Okay, it's doing the right action steps. It's moving forward, taking daily action, using the right techniques, but also having this as your anchor and your foundation. So it's strongly recommended. So going back to resonance. So some things to also consider is what should you focus on? Well, I think Tim Ferriss kind of said it best. He talked about, is it better to be a generalist or a specialist? And he said, I would focus on being a generalized specialist, where instead of having like one amazing skill set, but don't be a generalist, don't be a jack of all trades, master of none. Have 2 or 3 key skills that separate you from the market. Very, very important. So for example, in my past, when I was in Japan, I combined sales. I was a rafting guide, so I combined sales, my rafting, and my Japanese ability, and I did adventure tours, and I did a bunch of adventure tour selling, okay? When I came back to America, I combined kind of now my background in business and talent acquisition, and I've kind of made a whole little thing going on where I'm doing consulting, and I'm still doing hiring for all these staffing companies. So you want to combine a few high income skill sets when you're doing this, okay? I'm gonna kind of jump into the steps to, if you wanna manifest, a better word is, instead of law of attraction, like a lot of people try to attract things, it should be more the law of creation. You're going after it. You're taking the steps necessary. You're still visualizing what you want, but you have to be moving forward. You have to be taking daily action steps. It's not just like sitting there waiting for it to happen. You have to go after it. So this is a little bit of a refined look. If you look at the law of attraction, like The Secret, one of the biggest things they miss is going after what you want, right? When you kind of use this properly, you're inspired to know what to do for the next step. It's not just like wait around. So I'm going to talk a few different things that you need to do. So number one, you have to be kind of pissed off of where you are. You have to be motivated to change where you are in life. So say, for example, you want a new career or a new job. You have to feel the burn of not liking the job you're in. There's a good analogy where it was basically like, a dog was on a porch and these two farmers are there and the dog keeps moaning. And the one farmer's like, what's wrong with your dog? And he's like, oh, he's sitting on a nail. It's like, well, why doesn't he move? Well, it doesn't hurt him that much. And that's a lot of people in life. It doesn't hurt them that much where they feel like, I'm okay. I don't need a new job. I'm fine. Or I don't need a new career. I'm okay with the one. And I get it with a lot of people want security, but you have to first know what you don't want. You have to have that burn of like, okay, I either really want this because it's exciting to me, or I really want to do this because my situation, I can't stand it anymore and I need to change. So that's the number one thing is you need particle flow. You need some intense emotion to kind of get there. Now, if you go back to like law of attraction, all that stuff, they talk a lot about visualization. So visualization, once you kind of get into that state of like, all right, I'm going to change, we're doing something, you then visualize the ideal scene. What is the ideal scene? And you have to define what the ideal scene is. A lot of people are just like, well, I want a new career. Well, what does that look like? Okay, do you want to be back in the office? Do you want to work remote? What is the salary that you want to do? What is the type, do you want to work by yourself or on a team? What is the industry? What is the size of the company? You can keep getting more, you can keep defining it more and more and more and more. And the more you define it, the better you'll be because it's more focus. So you want to make sure you're defining a lot of parameters, okay? This is the ideal scene. And there's a balance with law of attraction where it's like, yes, you want the ideal scene, but you're not attached to it. Okay, it's being like feeling as if you already have it and not caring that you don't have it yet. So you want to make sure that you're in this kind of balanced spot where it's like, yeah, I have an ideal scene. It would be great for this to happen. This is exactly what I want. I feel good about it. But I'm also like, if I don't get it, that's okay. I'll still be moving forward. That's kind of the sweet spot to be in. So you have to define exactly what you want. You have to know the ideal scene. You have to be a little non-needy and letting go of the outcome. And then you also want to identify the emotion behind it. What is the motivation? Is it a feeling of, hey, I want more fulfillment. I want, maybe financial security. I want do I just want to be happy or social? Do I want to feel more, sales? Do I want to feel more powerful? So you want to identify the base emotion there that's going to, kind of be the motivator. Okay. Next thing is obviously make a decision. Are you going to do this or not? Are you going to be like moving forward and do a different career? Now this is very significant, but you want to make sure you write it down. You write it down. You put pen to paper. I have folders and folders of stuff that I've written down over the last 10 years of different dreams that it is kind of creepy on actually how many of these things have happened. Like ridiculous sometimes. I pulled up a document. This is like 5 years ago now. I pulled up a document. This was about a year ago. I pulled up the document for a document I made 5 years ago talking about the girl that I wanted to marry. And I reread it like a year ago, and now I'm married, and it was like eerily 90 to 95% had all these traits, all of them. I've done the same thing with jobs. I've done the same thing with career. But it's like, these are things just to help you. I'm not guaranteeing everything's going to happen, but you can look at statistics for a lot of this stuff. Writing it down is super essential. Okay, so I would recommend when you know exactly the career and job and the type that you want or the lifestyle that you want, you write it down. If you want another note, use white paper blue ink. Blue has a certain color vibration for your eyes. It actually makes it more, it has to do with neural pathways, but you want to be doing that. Write down the ideal scene. And I would recommend doing the same thing I did. Put the date on there when you wrote this stuff down and then put it in a folder and kind of forget about it. You'll be surprised on actually how much stuff might happen, okay? So that's all about the vibrational aspects. Okay, I feel the emotion. I'm gonna like picture and visualize as if like what I want, the exact scene. I'm gonna define it. I'm gonna really put it clearly as a picture. Is it like remote? Is it at, you know, what do I know my day to day? Am I talking to people, or am I being left alone? Am I in an office, or am I making sales calls? If you're trying to do sales, I'm doing cybersecurity. If I'm trying to do cyber, you know, all these different things. You also want to identify the emotion. What are the key emotions you want to feel, like the end emotions? I want to feel fulfillment, financial security. You know, I want to feel happy or social. And then you feel those feelings and you want to put that out in the universe for about, at a minimum, 2 minutes. Now, it does say in a lot of books, if you read Abraham Hicks, she talks about 68 seconds. I would, just to be safe, 2 or 3 minutes. Do some meditation and then visualize exactly what you want for 2 or 3 minutes. And then write it down. You write it down. And also writing creates actually more neural pathways in your system. There's more modalities to the brain. So write it down. Now after that comes what I think a lot of people miss, taking action, moving your ass, actually like going forward and starting to do things. So there's a few different things that you can do. Number one, you want to have, what is like the goal, the big dream, all these things. Let's use career, for example. All right, I want to be in this ideal career, you know, within the next 2 to 5 years. 2 to 5 years is a good kind of, I think, benchmark. 20 years, that's fine. 2 to 5 years, I think, is a little more believable. So for the next 2 to 5 years, I want to maybe shift careers or jobs, and I want to be at this certain point in my life. I feel the emotions. Here's the reason why. I've written it down. So now you have achieved fame, you have a focus point, okay? You then want to scale it back, and in the tech world, they call it OKRs. OKRs are objectives and key results, okay? There's a great book on it. You should definitely read it, called Objectives and Key Results, OKRs, where it's like, now I have, here's my chief aim, or the dream, or the end goal visualization I was looking at. And guess what? Now I have like kind of the objectives and the key results, kind of the timeline benchmarks to get to reach that goal. So for example, you know, I'm training for an Ironman right now, and I have to hit certain fitness benchmarks. Like I got 3-6 months to prepare for this one. Okay, for the first month I have to hit these training regimens. I have to meet these qualifications. Same thing here. If you're trying to get a new career, all right, what do I have to do to kind of get those benchmarks? So you want to identify what are the benchmarks on the road to get to your dream, okay? There's a great book, Design Your Work Life. This really breaks it down very, very well. It also talks about, then you break it down into, you reverse engineer, you break it down to your daily action steps, okay? So say you're job hunting right now. And I would recommend that like on a daily, you know, what is your daily basis? What is your weekly basis to get to a new job? Okay, so first off, like an objective could be, I need to brush up my resume. I need to brush up my LinkedIn. I have to start job hunting and make a list of different companies that I would like to apply to. I have to start sending out resumes and applications. I can so my objective, I want to like, new job, great. I listen to what other people have done in the market. Right? I start reverse engineering what I have to do on a daily, weekly, monthly action steps on the road to get there. And you start kind of breaking this down, and you start making a list of to-dos and prioritize them, and as well as you make a list of like daily action steps. So for daily action steps, I would recommend, okay, I'm gonna start sending out, I'm gonna brush up my resume, cover letter, LinkedIn. I'm gonna do like 6 to 10 applications a day, you know, for different jobs. I'm gonna start keeping track of these companies as well as who the hiring managers are. And then I'm going to make sure that I try to do like demos. I'm gonna try to do like between 4 to 6 interviews a week. Okay, I'm gonna set that as a, you know, a target that I'm gonna do, okay? So then after that, you have your chief aim, you have the dream, you visualized it. Okay, good, we wrote it down. Now we have kind of the chief aim. Here's what the chief aim is. Chief aim is to now get into that job. And then you're gonna break it down onto daily, weekly, monthly action steps, okay? And you make a schedule. You plan your work and you work your plan. You plan your work, all right, I'm gonna do this for 2-3 hours, especially if you're already working, For 2 hours a day, I'm going to do some solid job hunting. Okay, I'm going to do research on the companies, the industry, the certifications I might need, the skill sets I might need, how to brush up on my resume, how to brush up on my LinkedIn, my interview skills, all these things. And you make a schedule. Okay? The next thing after that is keeping score. You have to know your metrics. This is just in like life. A lot of people think like, oh, is this just like sales? Like, no, this is kind of like everything. So you have to know exactly where you are compared to where you want to be. Kind of, you know, as well as like whatever gets measured gets managed. So for example, if you're still job hunting, you want to make sure that you are keeping track of how many applications are going out, how many maybe phase 1 interviews, phase 2 interviews, panel interviews. The ideal goal is to get to like the offer stage where you have not just one offer, but 3 to 4 offer letters on the table so you can choose kind of like what resonates and what's the best one for you. But, as the dog moves, but this is very, very important to, sorry, getting that text. Oh, I lost my train of thought. This is really important so you know what's working and what's not working. When you know what's working, you can keep doubling down on that. If you know what's not working, right, then you know I got to change maybe the system or the approach or the perspective here, okay? So very important to do. You always want to review your progress. Review your progress. This method, this kind of like loop, is you can use it in anything. I use this in my fitness regimen. You can use it in your financial regimen. I'm kind of speaking in a little bit more on the career sense, but very important to do is kind of just know this basic run through. So again, like I talked about, some ways that you consider it is like, how do you choose the best career job for you? Is it something that you know is going to be in demand in the market over the next 2 to 5 years? Do you love it, right? Or is it something that you want to learn? Very important too. It's something that you are actually genuinely interested, okay? And then, you know, are you wired for it? Do you have some natural talent and certain attributes there? That's going to really help as well. And then obviously your resonance, your actual base vibration. And if you don't know how to raise it, I've talked about this in past videos a lot. I also have a little bit of like, I think a cheat sheet in the free Google Drive that I provide with all like the free resume templates and scripts and everything. So definitely check that out. But again, use that whole run through to manifest the career that you want. I think you might surprise yourself like a year or 2 years from now if you follow this regimen, okay? So I'll say like last but not least, if you want to raise your vibration, there's a lot of ways you can do it. This will just help with you feeling good throughout the day, overcoming obstacles a lot more often. It'll help bring in new opportunities, people, and events, circumstances to help get to where you want to go. You still got to, you know, do some action. Like I can't stress that enough. But this will help with actually just making things happen quicker and easier. So you can definitely reach out to me if you want. I'll provide a few different links. The easiest thing to do is just have a vibration. I would say meditation, exercise. I'm into Reiki, but you have to do these things to like keep yourself at a good vibrational stance, and things will happen a lot faster and easier, okay? So I hope that helps. Hope that was interesting to a few different people. If you have any questions about this, I'd be happy to chat and give you some advice. So hope that helps, and hope you guys have a great weekend and a great day. Cheers.